Excellent. So, hi, Unlimited Wisdom family and members. Welcome to another Daily Wisdom. So, hi, Mary, Faith, Coach Bob, Lisa Marie, Grandma Grady, Michael and Angela, our new guest here, Jamie, Sandy, Melody, and of course, my lovely wife, Terry. Excuse me. And our hostess with the mostest, Craig C.J. Jackman. Love you, brother. And what we're going to talk about today is your purpose. Your purpose. So, Craig, if you can look up that one saying by Wattles that says basically the best you can do for mankind and life is to make the best out of yourself. I'm pretty close, right? When I talk about my purpose, the one thing I want each and every one of you to really grab is hopefully when people see this, they see your purpose. Maybe I can help you find your purpose. The first thing I want you to understand is who told you you needed only one purpose? Don't we sort of all mentally feel like the world is telling us to, really find out what your passion and your purpose, your one thing is, right? But when I look at everyone, I simply think, wow, you know what? There's some people in the world that look at me like their husband. What's my purpose really to Terry? You
To
know,
be at my beck and call always.
rough, right? So, and then to my sons, I'm a father. Then I'm a grandparent. And then I'm a business owner. And then I'm an influencer. Are you guys catching this? And then in some places, I'm a mentor. Some places, I'm a trainer. Some places, I'm an international speaker. Be going to Columbia in April. Been blessed to speak all over the world. And then to some people, I'm an author. So I got, two best-selling books. To some people, I'm a friend. Um, are you guys getting this? And so we're different things to different people. And so I think the biggest lie that I just discovered, like in the last 24 hours, is again, if you guys will jump on to Outwitting the Devil, with Napoleon Hill, the mastermind that we're doing later on today, is this thing called drifting. And whether you have this belief in a power like Darth Vader out there, the evil power, the darkness, whether or not you have that belief or believe that energy or source exists, the one thing that we seem to find out all the time is that part of drifting is that voice or the number of voices in our head that are just flat out lying to us. So think how many people, and Craig, you're probably going to have to help me with this one as well. And the statement goes something like this. Do you know where the best inventions of the world, the best songs, the best books, the best plays, the best movies, do you know where most of them all exist? In the graveyard. There is more people that have died with that light inside of them, basically getting the adversary to make us drift so we never bring that light to the world. I have said this, never. So hi, Shelly. Hi, Faith. Hi, Mary. Hi, Deborah Bronner. So it's like, it's this lie that we never find what our purpose is. Me and Coach Bob was going back and forth today. And it was like, there's people like me that I have a tendency of being still. There's a verse to be still and know that I'm God. That's my belief. That's my passion. That doesn't have to be yours. But I've already learned through mistakes, me and Matt and Terry and Hannah were all talking. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over, expecting a different result. And what most people do is they start doing something, but they're looking for it to be their passion and their purpose. They have unrealistic expectations of believing what they need to be doing should be giving them more excitement and more joy. And since it doesn't, this can't be it, so I got to do something else. And then do something else, and then do something else, and then do something else, and then read another book, and then get another coach, then get another course, then do another company. And see, all they're doing all the time is not ever mastering anything because they're drifting. What they're doing is they're like, well, I don't really feel passionate about this, so I'm going to do something different. You know what I mean? And if you watch somebody that has a purpose, like, I got my sons, Matthew and Kyle, into Taekwondo, and they not only became black belts, but there's a word called Kukiwan. They got their Kukiwan certificates from Japan. Like, that's the legit that you can get, right? And they even qualified for the Junior Olympics because they were so good. But then there became a point where I love telling this story because it makes me emotional. And it's like Kyle, me and Terry, that's one of the hard things with Terry is don't be hitting or kicking my son, right? But then we would see, our perception is that our son was scoring and deserved a point, and then the judges couldn't see it. So it didn't take long for Mama Bear over here to start going off on judges and coaches and it was pretty crazy, right? So there was this one match and another sad thing about it is both of them worked so much at it. I loved helping them. I practiced with them. And all of a sudden it became a point where they had to fight each other. And it was like, nah, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, we never thought about it. I recently seen Jake Paul was doing a podcast with Donald Trump. And he brought up, hey, did you and your brother ever think about fighting? And he says, believe it or not, it comes up all the time. But to be honest, that will never happen. You know what I mean? And he just goes, because I kick his ass. And then all of a sudden, I'm sure. But what happened is my son Kyle went out in a match, and this guy went off on him. Hi, Jim. Thanks a lot for jumping in here. Hi, Matt. Thanks for jumping on. And this guy went all over him. I mean, he was throwing kicks, punches, everything. And all my son was doing is blocking, right? And when the round got over, my son didn't do anything to him. And so I just sat down and I said, what's wrong with you? And he said, Dad, he's not very good. And I go, so what do you mean by that? He goes, I'm just not interested in hurting him. And if you know anything about martial arts, when you get in the upper classes, the only way you get points
is by breaking somebody's arm or
is by hurting them. I mean, it's very obvious that you took the air out of them, you hurt their arm, you kicked in the head, knocked him out. And he goes, I just don't want to hurt him. And so immediately it dawned on me that I looked at him and I said, so why are we here? Why are you doing this? And he said, because I want to make you and Mom proud.
Well, then go punch that kid in the face.
So I threw in the white towel and we're done. We're totally done. That's not the reason for him doing that. Does that make sense, you guys? And immediately we went to Matthew and he's here. And I go, hey, why are we doing Taekwondo? Why are we driving all over the world to do these tournaments? And he goes, to make you and mom proud. That was the last day that they did martial arts. Now, am I glad that I did it? Oh, absolutely. But sometimes you'll see parents, be a little over domineering, making their kids do certain things, and they're getting all the glory out of it. You see what I mean? And so you got to be really, really in tune to what they need. And just one more quick story is, we know that everyone's a different personality trait, right? So one time Matt went out and he did like they're called katas, right? They're basically perfect steps of doing all the stuff that you need to know. And so it's a kata. And so Matt went out, he knocked it out of the park. And while we were watching him, there was one spot where if he paused, it was for a tenth of a second. You know what I mean? It would be like a glitch in the matrix, right? And because he did that little glitch, he didn't get the gold. And he was pissed. He was so upset. Now, Kyle goes out and does his, and he could care less.
He's like the skater that got gold.
Yeah.
Alicia Liu or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. But hey, I'm just going to do it. So he goes out and gets the gold. And when he comes back up into the bleachers, he takes his gold medal off and he puts it on Matt's neck. And I go, what are you doing? And he goes, this seems to make a big deal to him, Dan. And if you looked at Matt and Kyle's, Kyle's like a monk, and Matthew is extremely competitive. He pushes himself. He wants to be the best. And a lot of times he is the best, because he just pushes that. And again, that's a purpose. So when I talk about your purpose, the very first thing I want each and every one of you to think about is it okay for me to have multiple purposes? Mm-hmm. And the answer is yes. Now, another thing that me and Terry talk about all the time is that, every once in a while, especially when we're going through a transition. So right now we've had this huge transition where, I left, Facebook groups, stuff like that, started building school. And school became very, very a great focus for me. And I love it. I really, really love it. And then in the midst of that, in November, mid-November, the company that Terry and I worked for 7.5 years got sold to another company. And I always say that I'm in the people business, right? So it doesn't make a difference what company I'm with or what product they have, as long as the company pays on time. And then also the product actually does what it says it should do. See, that way I can really, really, offer that not only as a way to make money, but also a way to get well. And so when we first started, it made a huge change in our income, huge change in our income. And so all of a sudden, Terry gets to this place where she says, I'm going to go out and I'm going to start getting customers and I'm going to start getting consultants. And one of the things that I seen is that how many of you probably have had a job, or maybe you've been in a relationship where you're just going through the motions because that's all it is. It's like, listen, I need to pay my bills, so I better show up at this job. If I don't, they're not going to pay me. But how many of you would say that there's been times in your life that you just do it regardless of how you feel, but you got to do it because Coach Bob for 10 years. Yeah. It's like you're just doing it, and that it's not your passion, but it's something that you got to do. And we all go through that deal in life. So I was sharing this with Terry, that when you see the kind of wife she is,
I'm incredible.
You see what kind of parent she is. You see what kind of grandma she is. But she's also like this to people that she loves. She really thinks outside of her head. She's always thinking of other people. She's always doing stuff for people without being asked. And that, without a doubt, is who she is. If you got Terry as a friend, you got a friend for life. And so I was sharing with her that even though she's trying to do things that she's not used to doing, that's her purpose, and that's where she's happy, and that's where she can give back to the world. Does that make sense? And so a lot of people, I believe, mess up their lives because they know what, if they ask themselves, they know what gives them joy and what they would love to do. They just don't have any faith or belief that that could actually turn into a way of making them money. Huh? It's like, I won't share a person that Terry and I were talking about today, but Terry was going, well, listen, maybe we should just take care of their kids. It is like, but the whole point being is, again, think about multiple purposes, right? Multiple passions. And if you're right now having to do things that you don't want to do, that don't give you joy, then really think of the thing that you could do. Again, magic wand. You don't need money anymore. Matt asked me a huge question. He said, hey, listen, you look in the bank account, there's millions of dollars after taxes. And that's sad that you got to say that in some countries.
Yeah.
Okay. So after taxes, right? And you don't have to do anything for money. He asked me if I still do school, if I still would do unlimited wisdom. And I was like, yeah. Do you guys understand where that comes from? I love helping people. So if that's what I love to do and I get joy from it, yeah, I'm going to continue to do that. So
I'm stopping everything I do. Everything I do. Done.
Yeah, Terry's going to find some robots to hire, and yeah, it's like,
Get out my hammock with a beer.
So are you talking about everything?
Yeah.
Dang, I got some huge changes coming in my life, but my point being is, here's another thought, right? I'm sure Craig posted that Wallace Wattles deal.
I didn't see it on there.
Yes,
you want to?
I'll repost it again.
No, just say it. Oh,
Okay.
you can repost it again, but
Well, I'll do both. The very
Okay.
best thing you can do for the whole world is to make the most of yourself.
okay. So, with that said, I haven't said this in a long time, but I'll start it out with the story. Okay. Now, just for those of you that don't understand stories, the goal is to try to act like you're there. Just suspend your disbelief for a little bit, right? So, it was this guy, which would be like Joel Osteen, right? I'll just say the name. And when you realize that your whole life, that your grandpa did the preacher deal and your dad did the preacher deal, and then you get brought up on stage, and then for some weird reason your dad dies, and then the whole church decides that you're the person. That's what happened to Joel Osteen, right? Yeah, they just went, well, your dad died, and it's like, we're going to pick a new preacher, and we all picked you. He's like, I've never been to theology school. I've never done any of that. And they're going, so what?
How many have,
Yeah, believe it or not, a lot of people can't get the job unless they do that, which is interesting why it would be called a job. Let me just leave it there, okay? It's not someone that's called to do it, that loves to do it. No, it's a person that went to school, academic. So, and it's funny because that came out for a reason. So thank you, honey. So the story goes where he all of a sudden dies. Now imagine, right? He's at the pearly gates, and they ask him, wow, welcome. We got the place. There's a lot of people that scripturally believe that based on what you did on this planet with the years that you had alive, that you get a closer residence to Jesus and God. Now, there's other beliefs that go, that's bullshit. Okay. But just imagine, you see the big castle in the sky and you go up there and all of a sudden they said, this is your place. And he immediately noticed that he was a couple of suburbs away from the castle, right? And he says, I'm just curious. He says, I'm just glad to be here. But my grandpa was a preacher. My dad was a preacher. Since I remember anything as young as I could be, I've been sharing the word of God. And I'm like, wow, I'm impressed with whoever lives up there. See, he wasn't saying that he wanted to be there or he should be there. It's just, what did these people do? And right away, the person says, oh, you know one of them really, really well. And he goes, really? So they go up a couple more suburbs, right? Walk up and knock on this lady's door. She opens the door, and it was the lady that was the janitor of the church. And he's like, wow, it's so great to see you. And they hugged and da-da-da-da-da. And then he says, thank you. So then as they were walking off, he goes, so what did she do? Oh, well, her mom worked for your grandpa. So she prayed with her mother for your grandpa and the church. That passed on to her doing it for your father. And then when you took over the church, she prayed for you and everyone in the church until she passed away. So she's responsible for all the people that you guys led to here. Now, why do I bring that up? Did she have a purpose? In this story, in the moral of the story, she was responsible for more that happened than him, even though everyone looked at him as a third generation pastor, and he's the one that spoke all the time. But apparently she spent more hours praying. So the reason that I bring this up is everyone probably looked at her as the daughter of the janitor that cleaned the church, and then eventually she took over her mom's job. So everyone just looked at her as the janitor, not the person with the highest purpose. Why did I bring this up? Is that sometimes our purpose is really simply just being as a support of somebody else that everyone looks at or perceives to have the bigger purpose. So example, when I was a mechanic, the people that raced the cars and won the events, everyone knew who they were. Everyone knew the driver. Sometimes they knew who the pit crew chief was, and they all knew who the owner was. But a lot of people didn't know who I was. But I was extremely passionate, and I believed that that was my purpose. And because I did my job, the best of my ability, the people that I work for, their cars won. Are you guys getting this? So like when we see a Super Bowl team win or a world championship win, everyone knows the guy that won, that did the winning score, the guy that got his tooth knocked out. We all know the person that did the winning score in overtime. And then we all know probably who the goalie is, but it's funny, both their names escape me. But I sure don't know who the other people are. I don't even know who the coach was. Do you? But their purpose was to win the gold medal. I remember that. I watched that. I'm inspired by that team doing that. But what about all the people behind the scenes? So sometimes we would love our purpose and our passion to sort of look like in the world like, oh, wow, they did that. So when I got into marketing, 39 years ago, I was 1000% okay just being the best recruiter, the best person that piqued interest and found interest with people and put them in front of the videos that my mentor did. Because I knew that he had a passion, I knew that he had a purpose, and I was okay with being part of that. Now, here's what ended up happening to me. When you're helping someone else that knows what their purpose and passion is, and they're getting unbelievable results from it, not to get off track here, but I met my mentor, and he told me not only that our team was going to be number one, but then he said one day he would be on the cover of Inc. 500 magazine as having the fastest growing privately held company in the world. And the year that he did it, listen to this, you guys. The year that he did it, they also did a celebrations of other people who did it. So my mentor's on the cover of Inc. magazine is number one, but also Bill Gates's picture, Steve Jobs' picture, all these people that that achieved that. It was like a celebration. So it's like he not only said he was going to get on the cover, but he's on the cover with all these other people that have also hit number one. That was my mentor. Now, he sort of lost his mind. And, when, put it this way, what happened to him was when he achieved that, he believed it. And he believed that he was the only one that did it and forgot the people that helped him do it, including a higher power. So if all of a sudden you forget all the people, including the creator that helped you, then it can disappear and maybe you can start over and see what happens. But, it's crazy what happened to him. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but I was on 2020 with Barbara Walters and Hugh Down. 43 million people watched me on the air for a couple of minutes. Isn't that crazy? And because of that, the government took everything away from him that he ever owned. So I helped him build it, and I helped the government help them take it away. So, but that was another transition for us as well.
How many are we supposed to go through? It's messing around.
Enough. And tell, right?
Just messing around.
Some people are still going through relationships.
Right.
So, but my whole point here is sometimes I want you to ask yourself, because I think a lot of people go into the step of being the deal before they need to be the deal. For me, I'm just saying this is me. I was okay with being the best apprentice I could be. Right now, Matt has us watching this thing. What is it? Nine kingdoms, or started out as 7 kingdoms, but now they found out it was 9.
The 7 kingdoms.
Okay.
Knights of the yeah.
Yeah, but then they just find out at the end that there's 9.
Yeah.
All right. See, Matt, I was paying attention, right?
Game of Thrones.
But it is interesting that to be the squire. So why would he want to be the best squire he could be? Because right now, because of his beliefs, he's just too small to be a knight. Isn't that interesting? We watched in other programs where sometimes the smallest person seems like she was the strongest person, Because the dragons just listened to her. So when you raise little dragons and now they're big dragons, you can be small, you don't have to be big, you don't have to be powerful. It's just all of a sudden you stand up to someone, they're about ready to kill you, and you see two dragon heads come up behind her. You're like,
that's what I would love.
it is like, ah, and they're like, So I bring that all up to you is when you really think about what your purpose is and your passion. There's one other one I want to bring up to you, right? Do you believe that your purpose and passion in life changes? Oh my God. So now I've shared with you that for moments and seasons in your life, Jim Rohn loves talking about this. There's seasons in our life. We're a couple of days away from spring. But spring in some places are not the same as spring in other places. So I hear there's record highs in Phoenix. Some people look at spring and go, I'm not okay with 108. And if you were here 4 days ago, it was 2 degrees and we had a foot of snow. And you're like, are we really just a couple of weeks away from spring? Because it doesn't look like it. It looks like winter. But we all know that seasons come and go. And sometimes, unfortunately or fortunately, people are only in our lives for seasons, right? So you get somebody and you just, great friend, incredible communications. You just really, really like this person. And then in a blink of an eye, they're no longer in your life anymore.
They use your credit card and don't tell you, and they're gone.
Oh my God. Yeah. I want to know why you gave them your credit card.
She's my friend. No, just kidding. I would never. I mean, Kramer, I would, but we've been friends for 60 years. So.
But I think you guys are getting it, right? So I want you to open up your thoughts and your awareness and your heart to, am I in a season right now where I can have multiple purposes, multiple passions? Should I be focused on the one that gives me the most joy? Because I'm telling you guys, I see the biggest problem that I see with people in my industry is they just become experts way too fast. And here's something that I've noticed about school. And please, when I say this, don't think I'm talking to you. But when you start your own school, you immediately find out how much of a people person you are. Because if you start your own school and your membership's not growing, boy, is that a mirror to look into. If you do a post and no one does any engagement on it, because your people want to, if they're in your school, they want to see you participating and leading in that school, right? So now some people might go, well, maybe I'll just be one of the top contributors. Like, how many of you guys have have joined Melody Riba's school? Any one of you?
I didn't know she had one. She doesn't.
She doesn't have one. Or you can see some of you are going to get this, right? But if you look on the leaderboards of Unlimited Wisdom, there's no one even close to her. But wait a minute. She was that way in every company that I've been with since I've known her. So when I started a group, she was the biggest contributor, always leading by example, hitting ranks first in any company that I'm in. And the only thing she got out of that was being a millionaires, being an incredible warrior. That's pretty interesting, huh? So she used to reach out to me all the time and go, Robert, I think that you would really do well if you would just have a separate group to hold people accountable. You tell people what to do, but you honestly don't hold them accountable. And I go, Melody, I'm not that person. And she goes, oh. And I go, why don't you do that? Why don't you find the people in the group that you think are not being accountable and you make them accountable? And she went, game on, came up with these really cool things, accountability buddy. You know what I mean? She gives me a lot of credit for things that she came up with. Why would she do that? Because she knows how to treat an expert from afar. She's mastered that. But it gives her joy. I love her like the sister I didn't have. I just love and adore her. And she found the thing that gives her the most joy and most peace, and she crushes it. Does that make sense to you all? So I love and appreciate you. So I know I gave you a lot today, right? One is, wow, could I really turn my passion and my purpose into a way that I could spend all my time doing it? You guys already know all these analogies that I've given you, that people make a full-time income from stacking plastic cups, sharpening pencils, skipping rocks. Once a year competitions of launching pumpkins. You know, when you guys see some of the things that people do that make a full-time income, don't you just scratch your head and you going, are you?
Why did I think of that?
I think they do this every year. They make a big deal out of curling. Why would they make such a big deal out of curling in the Olympics? Watch these people push a polished rock. Watch this. Watch this. They push the polished rock, and then isn't it just a giant size shuffleboard? You know, you got these little things and you put like little sand on it or whatever, and you push it and you knock the other one off and don't fall off the end. And then you get a couple of people that steer it while it's moving by sweeping like crazy.
We need to find those people because they could go clean my kitchen floor. I bet they're amazing at it.
It's crazy. They probably don't have any carpeting in their house at all.
These dogs slobbering all over the place. They're terrible.
Well, when you look at that, it was like the first time that the Jamaicans got in bobsledding. It's like, listen, there's no Jamaican athletes in the Winter Olympics. What should we do? What could we guess what made them come up with bobsledding? What is something that we could practice every day in our country? That was the thing. They looked at everything out there and they're going, well, instead of, skates on the bobsled, we could put tires. And then we could practice pushing this all year until we get and do well enough to get a movie done for you, You know what I mean? So there's so many ways that you can find things, but open up your awareness to what is the thing that I'm doing that would give me a lot of joy that I love doing. Because right now we're finding out that, again, people are, what was the thing that, I don't know if you guys watch the Tuesday things on the school news. But the person right now that's making $5,000 a month with school, and when they said what he did, I was like, what? I was like, I couldn't even, it was like something crazy. Like I teach people how to roll up sleeping bags.
It's like, there is a skill. There is a skill. G, a fitted G.
Yeah. But I know that I've gone on a little long, but I hope you guys get this. Really open up your mind of what your passion is. And if you can't find it, then what I think you need to do is find someone that you can hook your wagon to their star. Hook your wagon to their star, because everything that you would need to know how to build a school, you could learn by being the best contributor of somebody else's school. Right? And it's like if you all of a sudden you're number one and you're always on the leaderboard, and you always, if you lose your flame, you get it back right away. That's my story. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. So thank you so much for being on here. Find your purpose, find your purpose, find your passion, because if you do that, then you're going to be a resource. Man, I did this whole thing and it just downloaded to me the number one reason why I did this whole thing. Ready? Okay. Because if you ask me what I know your purpose is that your purpose is what I said at the beginning with Wattles. See, a lot of people either don't believe in a creator or they don't even believe in the universe. And my mind is there shouldn't be any bigger purpose than you being the best person that you were created to be. So regardless if you call it universe or you call it the force, Luke, use the force. If it's source, from Abraham Hicks, Rhonda Byrne. See, the deal I believe that you should do is there's not a doubt that Rhonda Byrne had a purpose and a passion. And by their fruits, you will know them. Success leaves clues. She only made $300 million by coming up with an idea of reading Wattles' book. You see what I mean? She read Wattles' book that her daughter gave her. And then she did the science of getting rich. And she shared it with the world and then found out that there was other people that also believed in it. And then she put a pay-per-view on the internet. Do you guys know that Rhonda Byrne will go down in history as the first person to do a pay-per-view online? She figured out how to do it and got a bunch of people, made $300 million. I was telling Terry, just by promoting the science of getting rich, she not only got on Larry King and Oprah and Ellen DeGeneres, but do you know that she was written up in Time magazine as being one of the 50th most influential people that year? So I don't know. You write them all off. I got an interview with all these people that everybody wants to be on. I made $300 million, and I got written up in Time magazine for being one of the most influential people in the world. So if you listen to her story, what do you think her story was? If you don't, you can go back and listen to her story. It's like, my husband died. We lost our company. I didn't know what I was going to do next. I don't have any money. I don't have anything. And during a dark time in my life, my daughter gave me this book. And I thought that I should read the book. And then it inspired me. And then I searched the internet for other people that gave credit to this book. And I thought I needed to find a way to make sure that everyone knew about the principles in this book. So her purpose was to make sure that everyone knew about the science of getting rich by Wallace Wattles. Wow. Now you guys look at me and go, well, wait a minute, Robert, isn't that what you do? That's one of my passions, isn't it? One of my passions also is the greatest miracle in the world with Og Mandino. But my number one passion in the world is be the best Robert I can possibly be. build that connection with what I know is my creator, find out what more I could do with the creation that he made, the miracle that he made, and then find other people and make them believe it themselves. Like, why are you playing so small? Because you know you're playing small. Some of you would be willing to admit that you're professional drifters.
High five.
Some of you are willing to admit that if you're going to win something, it would be for the person that has the most distractions. Not a lot of you would win an award for having the most excuses. The reason some of you are with me is because you've worked by that, past that. You're like, if it's to be, it's up to me. You know, so why aren't you doing that? Well, I just suck. I got a lot of drifting and a lot of stuff happened in my life, but you know, you're not beating yourself up as much as you used to. So that's what I believe your purpose is. Your purpose is to be the best person that you were created to be. Because I just know that when I leave this planet, I just want people to believe that I had some kind of impact in their life. I love getting compliments from people when they meet my children. They tell me how great they are. And I love the people that I meet when they really get to know Terry. And they're like, I feel for you. You know what I mean? It's like, I
You're welcome.
All right. I love and appreciate you guys. Thanks, Matthew. Thanks, Deborah, Shelley, Mary, Faith, Coach Bob, Lisa Marie, Deborah Grady, Deborah Grady, Grandma Grady, Michael and Angela. Thanks again, Jamie, for staying on the whole time. I hope you enjoyed it. And Sandy, Melody, and CJ, thank you, my lovely wife.